All right.
Testing, testing, testing. Hello, everyone.
Bye.
Good energy to see you all. Look at Ebos in the background there looking all cool. Bye. All right. Should we start?
Yes, sounds good.
Where's Alma? There she is.
Yeah.
Wait, should Suzanne begin?
I'm waiting for a sign.
This is the sign. Please begin.
Oh, okay, great. Good evening. Welcome everybody to our second Poet Speak Out fundraiser. This one is for the COVID bailout in New York City. And the COVID bailout is basically, as of Tuesday, they've posted bail for 95 individuals, and they're currently supporting over 40 individuals through quarantine housing and daily wellness checks. And in addition to that, supporting their immediate survival needs. And they also work with people that they bail out to reconnect them to basically everything that they have had disrupted in their lives while in jail, specifically their communities, housing, employment, and social services. We're going to hear more about that in about an hour. There's a couple of ways that you can donate. And so we want to direct your attention to COVID Bailout New York City. They're on Twitter, Instagram. They also have a website, and as well as the Poets and Friends fundraiser that is currently running until May, which also will redirect funds to COVID Bailout New York City and a couple of other organizations such as Emergency Release Funds and BAJI, and who are also organizations that are trying to assist and deal with the bail issues of New York City jails. And just as a final reminder before I pass it over, please, other New Yorkers, call Andrew Cuomo, because he is the person that has control over helping the incarcerated people in New York State, New York City, and dealing with bail reform. So thanks all of you who have already donated and will continue to donate. The Poets and Friends Bail Out Fund also comes with a raffle, and there's some pretty fantastic prizes. So that's a great way to donate and also get something beautiful for yourself. So we're going to get started with our first set. We have about 4 sets, and we'll start with No Land.
Hello, everyone. You can hear me okay? So good to be with all of you, even in these very strange conditions. But I had like this moment earlier of inspiration, just knowing that we're all connected. It's like a telepathic experiment, despite all the sinister potential elements at work with all the technology, but it's all good. And we're going to have readers do brief punches of poetry for you tonight, and we're going to introduce 3 at a time, give them a little brief introduction. And the first 3 are Amma Birch, Ann Waldman, and Kate O'Kane. So just really quick, some information. Amma Birch is, first of all, Amma Birch planned to organize this and curate this, and master of technology, so much gratitude. Amma Birch is the author of 3 books, Faces in the Clouds, Sonnet Boom, and Ferguson Interview Project, and a video game available for Android, Space Quake by Amma Birch. So we'll hear from her first, and following that will be poet Ann Waldman. needs no introduction, has been an active member of the Outrider experimental poetry community for over 4 decades as a writer, editor, teacher, performer, scholar, curator, cultural and political activist. Her poetry is recognized in the lineage of Whitman and Ginsberg and in the Beat, New York School, and Black Mountain trajectories of New American poetry. Recent works include her new forthcoming vinyl featuring collaborations with William Parker, Laurie Anderson, Ambrose Spy, Pat Steer, and others. And currently books in the works, Bard Kinetic, and the Naropa anthology, The New Weathers. And most recently, she was working in Mexico City with the Rhizoma community, doing some work in a women's prison poetry workshops down there. After Anne Waldman will be Kate O'Kane, who is a poet and musician from Philadelphia. So we are totally global, and we will start with Alma Birch.
Oh, thank you, Nolan, for that introduction. Thank you, Nolan, for that introduction. It's been a really, it's been a really awful time. And, it's in the prison industrial complex, the coronavirus is spreading at a faster rate than almost anywhere else in the planet. So this cause of COVID, the bailout, it's so important. I'm gonna start with a poem called Performance Art. What would Lady Gaga do? And at one point, I'm gonna ask you to please dance with me. And I'd like you all to dance. Gaga, smoking hot, not your mama, do the robot. Please, everyone, do the robot with me. Everyone. Thank you. Call, call, call when I'm alone. Mall, 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 telephone. Baby, baby, born this way. Maybe, maybe, da-da, gay. Glitter lands, diamond encrusted hands. Thank you. The next poem I want to share with you is from my book, Sonnet Boom. And it's called Dalliance. Woods, a road, foods, a toad, God in the tree, God in the meadow, God in the flea, God in the sparrow. The God in me salutes the God in you. The toad at tea tells the flies in its stew. Yummy, says the bunny. Next poem is called Press If You Like. You like lost, moon, chicken, egg, egg, you, chicken, like, moon, lost, lost, egg, moon, you, like, chicken, chicken, lost, like, egg, you, moon, moon, chicken, you, lost, egg, like, moon, egg, chicken, lost, you. And the last poem I'm going to read, it's published online by a online periodical called Enclave, and it's called Stand Your Ground. I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. Crunch a rainbow hard, crush a rainbow tight, watch it explode, scatter silver light and glitter. Did you see that? I see that, it's a ghost. The ground sinks with its steps, leaving footprints on a patch of land surrounded. gates, bars, fences, chains, links, fences, picket, iron, fences, turkeys all around. Thanksgiving, we eat turkey at Thanksgiving in the United States of America. We eat chicken more frequently. We choke our own chickens. We murder our own turkeys. Hoods light my panther. What would Martin Luther King Jr. say? I may not get there with you, but we as the people will get to the promised land. On the road, Trayvon Martin. On the road, Medgar Evers. On the road, Emmett Till. 4 girls in a church. On a road, your brother. On the road, her daughter. On the road, evidence of things not seen. On the road, your friend. On the road, you and me. I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling. I'm happy again.
Okay, I guess I'm on. That was great, thank you. So this is a recent piece. I just left New York about 3 weeks ago. It's called Stepping Back. I noticed the night. I noticed a new half moon. I noticed it looked liberated, sharp, piercing. The sky was clear. I noticed my panic. I heard remote birds. I noticed the beggar. I noticed the dancer. Hesitation, apprehension, speed, and speed I noticed. Someone fumbling with a slippery glove. I noticed a quarter. Here's something, something. Was money safe? Was larynx, sex safe? I noticed hesitation and how to think invincibly. That's what it means to be wise. Think before you touch. See what you cannot see. You can't touch. It's invisible, I noticed. Someone was kind. I noticed efficacy. I noticed warning. I noticed signs signaled doom. Touch of optimism. I noticed rituals. I noticed shifts of mood, flicker. I noticed momentum. There was readiness is all. There was an almanac. I noticed closings, closure, cloisters. I noticed distraction. Shuttered, I noticed. Shuddered. Words closer to action. I noticed a book. I noticed poetry might save you now. Save you if you let it. It's time. I noticed startled words jump on the page. I noticed my speed to stay alive. Speed is purpose, I noticed. Stand aside. Was something there? I noticed nothing. A subway stalled. I noticed anxiety. I noticed crying, people moving. Would I be subject for interrogation? Was I abiding? Was I living rules? I counted them. I am behaving. What did one know? What did one know? No, this could be still empty. No, this could be full. I noticed breathing. I noticed someone freaking out in the bank. What he used to be, still elegant, but not what you see me now. Not what you see me now, he told them. He told them he used to be on with credit. I was one with credit, he said. I heard, I noticed speed again. I noticed speed thinking itself a victor. Speed is a vector. No one's saying what's going on when you are in business. Put on a face. I noticed how your faces are in my vocabulary now. I am in yours too, I noticed. I noticed out of pity. I noticed unheeding. I noticed the mirror of wisdom, all things equal, shimmering mirror, holding tight in the brain. I noticed no one in the streets. I noticed the outcast and around the world, the broadcasts in my head. I noticed walking by, I noticed remembering how one touched a small thing gently and it expanded. A rail, a glass, a corner, a trigger, button to set off a bomb. How one stayed calm. I noticed her beautiful eyes closed, her beautiful baby eyes closed. On the screen, I noticed her beautiful baby closed eyes. I noticed thinking, open them, please. Oh, open them, help me. I noticed children. I noticed obedience, tender faces in routines. I noticed insouciance, noticed determination. I noticed the listings, what is missing, what I won't be able to notice. I noticed hesitating, stepping back. I was in the world, I noticed it. World, world, world. The parks are closed, I noticed. I noticed the hardship of rain when you live on the street. I remembered Berlin before the wall came down. I remember things opening. I noticed elsewhere things closing down. Beirut, I noticed barriers and guns. I noticed shorter hours, longer days. I noticed the silver foil I dropped, afraid to pick it up, wipe it down. I noticed a cough. I remembered a conference in Wuhan, bustling city, the lake in happy translation. I noticed the care in transition, how far we came, and back a step. I noticed the invisible scourge, the invisible body, invisible embrace. I noticed the child in the hallway stepping back. Oh, good, stop. I noticed stepping back. I noticed what parts of the body shut down. I noticed my eyes peering into screens, eyes awake and ears. I noticed my voice next to yours, noticing a continent away. I just want to shout out to my new baby granddaughter in Mexico City and to our future. It's the end of an age, and it's very interesting. I feel like blessed to be here and with so many in community and so many ways that things could go. And it's going to be a long Kali Yuga, and we're going to be strong into the future.
That was incredible, Anne. Thank you for sharing that. It almost made me want to cry. I'm going to start with a piece called The New Network is Here. All programmable. It's our nature. Always there, ready to work. Good banking is good citizenship. Name your price. A global asset under management, delivering what's next. A business of caring, hooked on safety. If we say it, we'll do it. Let's solve water, save the world, inform, enrich, empower. Heart of commerce, science to medicine. The new network is here, all around you. A collection of great banks rule the air, ready in advance. Sour air, we sanitize, we arrange coincidence, cleaner incidents, citizens hooked on entertainment, shooting forever, delivering worth through revenge fog, largely targeted bystanders, urge default, buy another gun, fever forever, worldwide patents, Western terms, worldwide patience, Western teams, hooked on incidents, sabotage teams, design precise exercises, a flood of dollars, a golden jail, a licensed silence, ritual sanitize, a deficient life, ecocide thwarted, our final sale. This next piece is called Confession Under Duress, and it's in memory of Sean Bonney. Pay no attention to the motorcade behind your icon. It is not a crime to sweat. In sickness, we wonder who will die, who will sleep, who will wake up in restraints. Hearts break easily. These words are not yours, but come from their dust, the color of bricks through the window of an HMO, the color of good veins, the color of my useless EBT card. If you came to my city, I would have shown you the Museum of the American Revolution, which is my favorite, oh, I'm sorry, which used to be my favorite place to spit. I would have asked, will you sign my useless EBT card? Now I only want to know, will you tell my beloved hi? Drug rain, beloved hi, doubled over in bed, bedeviled. A hi is only devolved love, so let our rulers grovel. Strategic imperatives, creative metrics, grief tests, violent recitatives, the other side of programming, sheer hurt, shot up, a rising hunger, a hard reset, ash of the frequency, strategic imperatives, lamppost surveillance, low planes, no planes, make way for the stack 'em packs, plastic water, metal milk, bots in the biome, bots in the biome, bots in the biome, bots in the biome, renting to own, renting to own. Again, our ratings dictate carnage. Accredited, data titans. Instruct agents to redact, God damn it. Redact, God damn it. Inheriting debt's rancid agenda. Credit is a cage. Please don't walk on the grass. Hostile takeover in process. Global assets under management. Recite a death dodge. Tag, click, you're it. Tag, click, you're it. Tag, click, you're it. Tag, click, you're it. No other credo. Enact tactical grace. A riot. A call to prayer. An incantation against our leaden air. All crises lead to spin. In for a penny, in for a pound. Thank you very much.
All right. That was awesome, Kate. That's really thought-provoking. I'm gonna introduce the next set of poets. We've got Maggie Wrigley, Michael Kabuto, and Christopher J. Greggs. I'll say a little bit more about them. Maggie is an essential part of the Poets Speak Out. She is also a writer, photographer, and co-editor of the Architecture of Change, Building a Better World. She's lived and worked at Bullet Space on the Lower East Side since squatting there in 1987. Michael Kabuto is based in Queens, is the author of Country Poems and the founding editor of the Slow Poetry in America newsletter and Uric Preps. And Christopher J. Greggs is a Cave Canem Fellow writing poems in Jersey City, New Jersey. So I'm gonna hand it over to Maggie.
Hey, everybody. Well, good company to be in. Let's make some money for people today. I have two short pieces. This is called Finding Their Way. The ants march through my room as if on an ancient trail that this old building has but a temporary place in. They don't diverge from that path. No food entices. Every spring, the winged insects climb out of the walls and floors and spark a brief panic that termites are working on the old bones of the house. One night, wasps started to crawl out of a crack in the corner. Yellow jackets, fierce and so tough, the bash of a combat boot fails to stop them. They win, we flee, but we return to do battle with steel wool and spackle. The room behind my bed is full of pigeons. The broken east window, their cliff ledge. Their fluttering and purrs soothing the noise from the street out front. Screams, sirens, firecrackers, gunshots. Year after year, a pair of rock doves land on my fire escape and build a sparse, scrappy nest. Lay eggs, hatch the baby birds. My cat, trapped inside, stalks them, and then they fly. But a storm came and blew the nest away, and there is no return. A hawk hunts now, wind draft to tall tree to building, and stalks the cat in crosshairs on the landing. And this piece is called Earth. I am close to mud. I'm feeling wind and fire, smoke of dust and bone. I'm close to the mud where my heroes lie, to the river where they swim, to the ocean. The mud is near, the mud and dirt of our yard, where poets' ashes lie under flowers, a cherry tree, a willow, where our animals lie, bones now. We shall all be bones and ash together. It's a time of the ether, of leaving the earth, of sending the elders with music, solitary whisper. No final wave except in memory. Mud, dirt, wind, smoke, invite me. The wind is howling, the air is electric and water pours down. The sky crashes and rolls. A good way to go, swept up in a storm. Ferris rode a blizzard. Smoke will do, fires are lit, fire starters creep the quiet streets. I want to wave, but I can't get the window open. Smoke swirls in my apartment, drifts up the stairwell. When I'm apart from it, I can't see my hand in front of me. When I am with it, I can roll with the thunder, find brightness behind the clouds, fall back to the dirt and mud. The birds feel no change. Only we can see what we have wrought. Thanks, everybody.
Hey everyone, it's so good to be with you all. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm just going to start my reading with a short excerpt from a text by Robert Cosec, helping me think a lot recently about the poem as a form of grief, given over to the world burdened by sickness. Cathartic experience, release of emotion as relief from emotion, is crucial for healing. Yet, I will extend the ways in which poetry may heal, moving toward poetry's full efficacy. I am perhaps weary of pathology, wary of knowing primarily through pathology, without at once proposing a body or poetry that calls for our well-being from a place of being well. No man's land. Locus terribilis, a lonely place, the poet's grave, but a fine time for dreaming. Heads or ships, by land or by sea, although neither desirable. Emperor's eyes, better take a big knife. There's a lot of hell out there, hardly know where to begin. Lost passages, mistranslated epistles, no west, all the way around. pillars of God tongue, scattered or overboard, only boots. Churn from solid fact, salt lap God curve phenomena of untouchable distances. Flatten atom anagogic, vessels lumbered over continent. Steam brawn, hard labor, pendulum of metal tones. Subterfuge was a ship, day spun, at rounds of arms, watch at mast height, let color drain, discolored primordial sea, trap shore weeds. Sapphire, dawn, green, grace, purple, skin bruised, sign of vines, wine red, passage, the sun drowned or submerged kept, touch lips copper tinged and teeth flushed, or in crossing by narrow word, zealous pharmacology, whistle tender Bacchus was the fish. Thank you all so much.
Hello, everyone. It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you so much, Alma, for having me. This one poem I wrote a few days ago. Can everyone hear me? Yes? Wonderful? Awesome. Thank you. And so one thing I've been kind of struggling with is this idea of agency. There's so many things that kind of feel outside of my realm in terms of like what I can actually do to change what we're all experiencing. And so I wrote this poem titled, "And That's All There Was to Corona." I can smell the barn, the stars in decline behind us. I can smell the fire, the stars decline us down. They are not counted, they are weighed. Without hope, without fear, from the deepest chests. We are not terrified of the rough things. I hear the enemy. I hold the wolf by the ears. I can smell the barn. Let the omen be absent. I envy the absent. In a time of war, in a time of silence, there is no question. There is no issue. They, we are not counted. They, we are weighed. We sing and the trees echo every word. We strive for the forbidden without hope, without fear. Nobody dances sober. We are all terrified of the rough things we saw in the barn. We saw the enemy heavy with wings, a wolf without ears, saying, "The act done by me against my will is not my act." And I saw her dancing to whatever damage declines the stars, to the weight of all things, to whatever damage from the deepest chest of a world that wants to be deceived, of a world that wants to grow old. The hour is uncertain. We who are about to die don't want to. There is no issue. We echo every word. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Very beautiful. We're running a little bit early now somehow, so we're gonna ebb and flow between early and late. I just want to remind everyone to donate if anyone is not sure, where to donate. All those links are available on our Facebook Poets Speak Out page and also on various Instagram posts. You can Venmo COVID Bailout NYC. You can go to paypal.me/COVID Bailout NYC. And if anyone has any questions, we're going to have someone from the COVID Bailout organization come through at about 7:30 and speak to us. The next readers, Fury Young Leon Benson, Alia Rosenthal, and Bob Holman. You guys are on deck. We have a call coming in that Fury will receive around 7 o'clock from Pendleton Correctional, I believe, is where Leon is calling us from. I'll let Fury introduce Leon, but just to say a few words, he's an artist, poet, activist, cultural worker, educator, someone I've been corresponding with for several years and rotating with artistically. Fury Young is our first reader, and I will tell you about him. I'm gonna go for the long bio because we have to kill some time. Fury Young, born in 1989, is a multidisciplinary artist from Manhattan's Lower East Side. In 2011, he became involved in Occupy Wall Street's LA chapter on the West Coast. Fury developed the idea for a concept album about racial injustice in the US prison system, inspired by Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow, and Pink Floyd's The Wall. After spending years recording for his LP project with Die Jim Crow, which works with formerly and currently incarcerated musicians, he transitioned the project in 2019 to a nonprofit record label for these artists. The Die Jim Crow LP is still in the works. And Fury will be followed by Leon over the phone. And then we will have Alia Rosenthal, who is a poet born on the Lower East Side. So we have 2 Lower East Side poets in a row. Currently, he helps Ai Weiwei once in a while produce a book. And what's even more strange is he is co-starring in a feature film coming out later this year, if any theaters still exist. So that's Alia Rosenthal. And then that will be followed by Bob Holman, who has 2 new books, which are written 50 years apart, Life Poem and The Unspoken. And we will start with Fury. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Nolan, for the intro. I'm excited to read for you guys and to host the call-in from Leon Benson. Here's a photo of him. So I'll get right to it. Shout out to COVID Bailout. Definitely donate. And let's see, I'm going to start with a poem called Too Much Thought, T-H-O-T. This is the bench, wrote ode to pigeon on, looked at a discard and thought of the whole man's life. A virus was spreading, too much thought, hind legs. If he calls me, you be the night I will shoot at the blink of. Carried lost guitar, at least this far we've been comrades. Tethered, tarred, lost focus, reclaimed pawn shop. From jungle land. Your hand, wish I could hold it. Talking to you, pigeon. Got my red pants on. Cost $250 in Kentucky. Some ghetto off 65 or 64. Hell, ride. The point is Writer's Digest. The bench might be revival, but at sea we are one. A wind jester gun. See? Movies are canceled. Hope Dog ain't contagious. 100 years come and go. Thug you the circus. Closing museums, schools are next. Just hoping that GMA rocks on. Clocks are on. Thank you. This is one called For the Prisoners that is pretty old at this point. I think I wrote this in 2014, not too long after I started Die Jim Crow, which Nolan talked about a little bit. It's a record label for formerly and currently incarcerated musicians. Obviously, I'm going to give it a plug right now. And speaking of plugs, I got to plug in my computer because it's about to die. So yeah, this is about some of the people who I work with on Die Jim Crow. This is for the prisoners who are so much more than that. You should be photographed by the first film camera in the most ethereal and beautiful black and white. For Obadja, who speaks with so much pride. His tattoos show the journey of the Israelites. His hair is long and braided. He looks like a real cool black radical hippie, and there's something ancient about his persona. Leon, LB, you told me about Obadja. You hooked that thing up on your contraband phone. You told me Sartre, Camus, then my mans, and that made me shed one tear of exultation. Clap back, Rad, was how you ended your letters, and you had more creative thoughts than a leopard on acid. Militia, you were sweet like the dancing frogs in the card you sent me, but you could smell a bullshit from a bull ring away, and you drew many butterflies, and your soul was really one of lightness. I see you take the bits of sun you've got and run with it, and run with it. Tamika, I need you on loudspeaker. Your accent is thick, like honey and molasses. Your handwriting is street and prison hieroglyphs that will one day be on a pyramid. Your vision is myriad. Anthony, Big Ant and the quotables. Yeah, it's me again. You know me, always doing something. It's either legal work or music. If it ain't that, I don't want shit to do with it. I love this shit, excuse my French. I want this to be historic. So I'm ready to rock and roll because I'm not perfect, but I'm as good as it's going to get. Spoon, spoon, spoon. How deep is your deepest poem? How deep is the blue sea deep? I think at times you must be depressed, but you're still living in clouds. And when low, your voice is loud. Not in anger, but in two simple things you love, beauty, and of course, realness. Myron, I heard you were the greatest guitarist ever. I'm not even gonna think about that, man. I'm just gonna meet you. And I'll be curious, like going back to ancient Rome. Am I about to meet a guitar monolith? Angola Penitentiary. A brick just fell off your wall. Thank you guys. Here's Tamika Cole, who's one of the poets I just spoke of, a fellow poet amongst us poets. She's now out of prison. Thank you guys so much, and I'll be back when Leon calls me. Peace.
Okay, so Alia, if you don't mind, you can go and then we'll go back to Fury, if that's cool.
Okay, so I'll try to get to 7, right? 7 p.m.
Yeah, try to get there.
All right. So I wrote this poem in, I think it was about late October 2019. And I just looked at it again and I realized, oh my God, I might have predicted the future. So here we go. Kiss my asteroid, pull my junk. Bodies runneth over. One cigarette left and you can't have it. Knock, knock. Who's there? It's your mother, Earth. She wants her shit back. You and we and B, all off course. The big one's gonna hit 2020. Right in the Bible Belt, in the Kishkis. That's downtown Yid for it's gonna fucking hurt. Eyes over here, you ain't paying attention. It's a turd, it's a drain, it's an American Extinction Day. You schnooks vote for it every time. So that's my opener. How many more minutes? Okay, I gotta clear 6 minutes. All right, I'll bring out the long one here. I'll try to stroke it slowly here. This is from a potential book that I'm writing about growing up on the Lower East Side. It's in its early stages. I'm not sure where it's going at the moment, but here's a little excerpt. This section is called It Was Only the Lower East Side. One morning, or was it morning, where death, just another cheap date, Consciousness taps my shoulder. It's 1983 or 1984. We know what happened in 84. Everyone was younger. The sun passed through two crystal rainbow makers languishing over aloe vera green limbs. My eyes are slits. My nose receptacle to last night's blood gang stick up. I lay there, sweet ricotta wafts up to my chamber, cannoli maidens, dancing tarantella, airborne. I remember now, I only get a cannoli if I'm a very good boy. There's still that stale pigeon guano on the sill, never enough to rid myself of it because it fascinates me. The white shit contour, a shape much like the state of Illinois, the feathered center dung sitting right where Lake Michigan might meet an imaginary Indiana. Yeah, just where the smokestack of Gary would be. Gotta get out of this fucking bed. It's almost 78 degrees and it's a Sunday. The loft bed my head lays in demands a few more moments to analyze the rarity of my tin roof. White shellac and malignant brushstrokes face me. It's lead for sure, flakes on my cheek. Ah, I'm poisoned! So that's why I'm going crazy. Tenement living is really only for true enthusiasts. And so are best ideas. Before living and hanging on to karmic dreams, a first thought. It's not brilliant, but I figured no more part-time fucking job or scrounging coin to wash the shirt off my back. I am finally gonna do what Sonny Liston did. First round down, I'm gonna be a real artist. If you pay me, I'll never, ever, ever write poetry again. The streets are littered, or is it lettered, with every nobody's words strewn out from stale vestibules. I'll do one last ditty on the corner of 1st Ave and 4th Street. One last kiss on the head of the Lower East Side. Now I am out the door. So, oh shit, 3 more minutes. Okay. Punch it out here, punch it out. Thank you. Yes, please give the COVID bailout New York City. The link is everywhere, Venmo, PayPal, on their site. You know where it is. So speaking of COVID, here's a poem, What COVID Taught Me. COVID taught me, if I don't do any work, I'll live longer. COVID taught me the greatest con artist in the world is what COVID taught me, well, that I'm a pretty laid back person. Would be great to have a friends with benefits situation that is respectful, fun, and full of positive vibes. COVID taught me no one can smell a shit-eating grin. COVID taught me mental splatter is orgasmic. And COVID taught me tumbling over mayhem is okay for a week or so, but then a bubble bath. COVID taught me this planet is big enough for the none of us. COVID also taught me that queer feminist pornography isn't free by a long shot. Also, COVID taught me I ain't writing these poems so you can archive my ass. And COVID taught me the zoological spit transfer, or in other words, a man blowing kisses to a pangolin, I guess started this whole morass. And finally, COVID taught me I missed everything. So what I miss? Thank you. Do we have, it's almost 7 o'clock for the special.
If we don't have it, we can...
If you want, the next reader could go and I can just keep Leon on hold when he calls me, if that's cool.
We'll go to Bob and back to Fury, and then now we'll close out this week. Bob Holman, everybody.
Bob Holman.
Yay. Oh yeah, that was super. I was laughing and laughing.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing to be working for our local activists here. You know, New York is the epicenter, and it's so great to see the people who are out there on the streets. I'm not, you know, I am doubly, triply solitary here. But thank you, oh activists who are on the streets, and thank you workers who are on the streets, and thank you doctors and nurses and all the health people. You know, it's an unbearable time. Whatever teenager 1,000 years from now has us as a simulation and pushed the plague button after they pushed the clown president button, I want you to tell you, please hit the escape button and let us go free. You know, this is the poet's sculpture behind me. By Sam Jablon. Each one of these boxes is a different poet. And when you take it to your readings, you can make stages out of it or podia. And this is an example. This is Tuli Kupferberg's box. It says, "Morning, morning brings me grief." That's what I need every morning. And it's good to see everybody. I got a poem from the new book, The Unspoken. And this is dedicated to Tonga Eisenmartin, who's been doing an incredible workshop for Bowery Poetry. It's called Every Word. And it goes like this. Every word in a poem is a poem. Thank you very much. Okay. You know, I guess we've all been touched personally by people dying through this COVID plague. I just want to, you know, Henry Grimes, a great bass player who worked with, you know, I worked with, he's worked with so many people downtown. And Lewis McAdams out in Los Angeles, who's one of the originators of the St. Mark's Poetry Project, a dear friend. And Hal Wilner, who was my friend and produced my first record. And so I want to read something for Hal. This is the first poem on the first record. Record is called In With the Out Crowd. I think we can all identify with that, you poets out there. So here it is. It's, you know, to me, global warming and this plague are intricately intertwined. This is a global warming poem. We are the dinosaur. Blast open the gates to kingdom come. Whoops, what happened to everyone? Planted a seed, grew into a gun. Dum, da dum, 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 dum. Life is a riot living in a cartoon. Ice age in a dumpster, that's our living room. Set fire to your roof, get a better view. Global warming's a warning. Toodaloo, we are the dinosaur. We don't live here anymore. We got what we were asking for. Follow the dinosaur. Ho, ho, Homo sapiens. Ain't so smart. Kamikaze, friend. Which way is the ark? The whole world's dialing 911. The don't walk sign just changed to you better run. What we've been waiting for has long since come. Dum, da-dum, dum, 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 dum. Cross the scorching sands with my big fat feet. You know, it's hard becoming diesel fuel with nothing to eat. Better catch us quick. We're out of here. We're pre-winged birds. We tend to disappear. Hurry, disappear, back into the past. Did you really think the future was gonna last? It's ending with a bang, so let's have a blast. Tonight, we're dining cannibal. It makes a nice contrast. Chauffeured ambulances racing to the prom. Santa, please bring me a neutron bomb. Recycle the planet before the earth is a grave, but you gotta excuse me. I must get back to my cave. We are the dinosaur. We don't live here anymore. We got what we are asking for. Follow the dinosaur. Thanks very much, y'all. Thank you, No Land.
Do we have Leon, or should we move ahead to someone else?
We don't have them. No.
All right.
I don't know if they're on lockdown or what.
Okay, so we will move forward, and if it, let me know what goes on with that. And we have Alia Rosenthal introducing. Thank you, Bob. That was really beautiful.
Wow. Very cool, Bob. Thank you. I love that CD too. Should make an LP out of it as well. Oh, who's next? Here we have Luke Stewart and Coco Gordon-Moore and Suzanne Goldenberg. Luke Stewart is a DC, New York City based musician, and he's a good friend of mine. We've performed and done stuff together. He's first up, and then after that is Coco. Coco is an artist and poet. She's the author of 2 chapbooks, A Sketch of Romance and Today I Hate the Sun. So after Luke is Coco, and then Suzanne Goldenberg is an interdisciplinary artist, educator, and activist. She hosts the Crush reading series at the Woodbine Collective in Ridgewood, New York. She is the author of Help Wanted and her forthcoming book, Going Pro. She's also a triple Aries, very impressive. So let's start with Luke. Luke, are you ready?
Yes.
Take it away.
Ooh.
Oh, I think, hold on. I think you're almost up.
Thank you, Luke. That was amazing. I've been told that we have Leon Benson on the line with Fury Young. Fury, do you want to take it over?
Sure. Yeah. Can you guys hear Leon? Leon, say something.
Hey, check one, check two. Check one, check two, check three, check four.
Can you hear?
Maybe bring it away from the mic a little.
Keep talking. Count to 10.
Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Okay.
7, 8.
Yeah, they heard you.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah, we got you. All right, I'm gonna introduce you, okay? All right, so before we get to Leon, I'll just say a few words. I've been corresponding with LB for like 6 years, and he's locked up in Indiana. It's a state that I've never gotten access to record in, but we've stayed really close, and he submitted artwork and lyrics to Die Jim Crow, and he's one of these people who kind of needs no introduction, but since you guys don't know him, I'll just say briefly that he's doing a 60-year sentence for a murder he didn't commit, and the evidence is very clear. He wasn't at the scene of the crime. He had nothing to do with the murder whatsoever, but nonetheless, he was convicted and charged with 60 years. So he's been fighting the case for his entire incarceration, and despite all that he suffered, he has put out some books. Here's one of them. Oh shit, he just hung up. He'll probably call me back.
All right, let's go to Coco, and we'll get.
Sorry guys,
He's gone, right?
technical difficulties. He'll call me right back, but yeah, go ahead.
We'll go to
I'll
Coco.
put it on mute while Coco reads.
I'm fine to like wait a second, or you can like totally interrupt me.
It's okay. We're patient.
Okay, well, please feel free to interrupt when he calls back.
No problem.
Okay. What do I want to read? Okay. She brings me to the sexy belts. Across the pool, they stretch out, expecting pubic hair to change their lives and the love of some asshole. We're so close to becoming men. Dad has a beer. Dad is thirsty. I'm just gonna read a few poems. That was obviously one of them. Sorry, I'm like terrible at this virtual stuff. I like don't know how to talk to you guys. All right. Things that will destroy a good person. Songs, music, other musicians, manhood. You play the liar. I told the liar to fuck me. I'm gonna try to read this one. It doesn't have a title yet. It's like a play poem, so we'll see how that translates. Act 1. She tucks her babies into a hot pink bedroom. We chose the color carefully. When I was little, I would watch ballerinas across the street. I couldn't wait for my body. Dad and the princess kiss goodnight. Act 2. Some rape in the rose room. A rotten peach grows in mother's chest. Act 3. Everything is sexy in the mountaintop. When you slap my ass, I don't care. Act 4. Dad says we are getting coffee. Hurry downstairs. We're too late. Act 5. The princess gobbles them up. Act 6. Thunder, ice cream, clothes sign. Nothing is open. I am alone. And then just gonna read one. Is there time? I'll read one more.
Yes, there's time.
Okay. Yeah. Say it like a baby. The centipedes have finally left me alone. I don't miss them at all. You were so good, killing them, holding me. His eyelashes fell out. I say it like a baby. You say nothing at all. All right.
Wow. Awesome.
Well, I gotta go. Thank you. I've got to go to a meeting. It was amazing. Thank you so much. Everybody be strong.
Almost up.
Love you. Love your candle, Erika.
Okay.
Catch you later.
Bye, Annie.
Love you. Bye, Anne.
Love you all.
Goodbye, Ann.
Love you all.
Thank you so much, Coco. That was amazing. I think we have Leon on the line, so take it away, Fury.
All right. That was basically my intro before. So that's Leon. Here he is. Let's get right to it.
Hey, how you doing out there in New York City? Happy to be part of this COVID-19 jail bailout effort and humanity that you brothers and sisters are doing. I want to give you a piece first because everybody is isolated right now. And you know, I'm in prison, so I'm isolated all the time. So I want the listeners and everybody to empathize to this and feel it. It's called Blue Tadpole. For 20 years, I've been trapped like a tadpole within a teardrop of a cyclops, whose eyes reflect my right eye, and how my heart has become dry rock as a result of sleeping on a bedrock of mass incarceration, which are the incestuous injustices that are beyond historical precedent and beyond the minds of pedestrians who are shackled to a system that's molesting them. Yet subconsciously, they suppress the best of it when there's no way to only embrace a portion without taking the rest of it. Such monstrosities have been tweaked to a velocity that seems to seduce your curiosity of what levels of starting pain are condensed within a single teardrop from a cyclops crying the blues that are more vast in the sky of the bluest hues and deeper than the deepest blues of red, white, and blue. On the faces of America, mass hysteria is really employed a mass its interior of its false senses of being exceptional and superior while she sees and cries her deepest blues in the mirror. But Lady Liberty, please, the blues you cry makes me bleed. Your blues are the police, which causes me to plead. Don't shoot. I'm not resisting. I can't breathe. It's only my cell phone. Please don't kill me in a traffic stop that's supposed to be routine, but oftentimes leaves me hanging in a jail cell or lying dead in the street. Dred Scott, you still consider our bodies a thing? So to you, America, I am the Cyclops that deserves a death sentence for an L-Walk without me doing a thing, but refusing to continually be beaten black and blue. Because your biggest fear is that all the hate that you wage against me will one day finally come back to you. And that's what will become of the tadpole trapped within the teardrop of a cyclops crying the blues. That was my blue tadpole piece. And it's just for the people, we are all like tadpoles in the teardrop of a cyclops of indifference, a lot of things. But I wanna dedicate this piece to the first responders.
Can you guys hold on one sec? Can you guys hear him all right? Yeah? Louder? Talk to me.
It could be a
You're
little
good?
bit
Okay.
louder.
Sorry, someone was putting in the chat that it could have been louder. I'm just gonna hold it as close to the computer as I can. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to dedicate this piece to the first responders of COVID-19 in New York City, Flint, Michigan, Detroit, Indianapolis, LA, New Orleans, worldwide. Y'all doing a wonderful job. I commend you people nowhere. Big props to you for being the first responder for this, for the people in NYC. So this piece is called Unconditional Beauty. And it goes, when people are as beautiful as you, in the midst of night, the sun rise, love, humanity, and justice all collide, and sprinkle the heart like overdue raindrops on dry hands that convey vibrations that only kindred souls can understand. Speaking in exotic tongues that heal, that inspire, that soothe and groove, back and forth like a space-age tango across the sky, grace in the clouds. My angels, look into my eyes. Now smile. No, no, no. Not with your mouth, but with your soul. It's been seen, but never told. It's been felt, but only kept, but never gave. Love, as I gaze into your eyes of a people as beautiful as you, I am so amazed by your unconditional gifts. Love. Hey, thank you guys for having me. I wish I could just keep giving poem for poem, but I appreciate your efforts, and I pray everybody can overcome this great tragedy our nation is experiencing. Thank you.
Thank you, Leon.
Thank you, Leon.
Thank you, Leon. I don't know if you could hear me.
Thank you, Leon. Suzanne, are you ready?
I'm ready. Thank you. That was great. I wish we could have heard louder and with us. Thanks everybody for coming. The readings have been beautiful. I'm gonna read. You guys can hear me, right? Can you hear me? I'm gonna assume you can. Okay, I see a thumbs up. All right. So yeah, I've been writing these confinement poems, and I'm gonna read a couple of those. And first one's called Before. Before. At that time, there was joy. There were shapes of flowers, paw prints in the flower, and in the snow, a bird track, one with a dragging tail. I wrote your name in the snow, make songs from old movies to alert you, ignite the stale air between us. When punishments were a good thing, riding on your back, playing animal parts, the exhilaration of trouble, it was that we were together. Alone on a swing in the softball field, way out, theft left out. Too much time for daydreaming, the clothes and dishes piling up in their misplaces, never saying please or thank you on command. Eating still's a furtive act, each crumb the semblance of unnamed, unofficial things I won't relinquish. And my next confinement poem is called In May. I know it's not May. I thought that sound was the beginning of an orchestra playing the thunder like the day, thought the drums was the wind, and now it's snowing again. It's almost May and it's snowing. The robins cross the lawn, confused. They don't know what to do. Chest puffed up, cherry plums usher suits of spring. Show off their plumes, trees wrap around each other, ward off the cold, invasive vines stranglehold. the spring holding on for life. Elle called me hysterical, crying apologies. His friend passed in the night. He doesn't know what to do. How can he submit his homework? And I'm avoiding my work, pretending to make a poem to you on a voice memo. Archimedes' Bath. I wrote this one with my friend Heather. If you're there, I love you. She's taking care of a lot of people right now. Archimedes' bathtub. As always, you dream the room that's a room to a room, as if whole other life resides there, one free of rectangles, every feeling thing coerced, pushed into four corners. Of course you're writing about rectangles. I'm binge watching a show on Lorena Bobbitt, a folder and a folder and a folder, and thinking about addiction. The door, the papers, the stove, my tooth. It's about losing the power to say no. Paper, factories, cell phones, bricks. Did Dostoevsky say that in The Gambler? Cells, ledgers, planes. It's doing things that should bring pleasure, but don't. Your stilted dream stuffed into the ice cube of logic. Laura complains about an aggressive labradoodle in the park. The owner, a tall man with bushy sideburns, buildings, rooms, architecture. He refuses to neuter, said his dog would be dilapidated without his balls. The ladder, the rungs, the factory, the plant, the plantation, the field. He meant debilitated. Right angles, captivity. I tell Laura I can't stop thinking about Lorena Bobbitt and marital rape. The cell, the unit, the step, the letter, the spacebar, and how her husband Wayne was sodomized by his uncle. Rect angles, erect angles, rect angle. The cycle of abuse, she says. Yeah, fuck. Supply and demand, a dollar bill, a plank, a pier, a diving board, a tooth. She tells me she's given up on getting tenure. An envelope, a sheet, a blanket, a duvet. She carves objects and shows them at the craft museum. Now mostly knives, she says, and stones. The sheet, the street, the block, the pen, the plane. Wooden stones, I say. That's cool. The bed, the coffin, the floor, the mirror. And my last poem is a sonnet that was inspired by the wonderful and generous C.A. Conrad, who is part of the raffle for the Poets and Friends Bailout Fund. So you should check that out because I just see that they keep posting all of these beautiful artwork, drawings, books, performances, and all the money goes straight to COVID Bailout and 2 other organizations. So yeah, C.A. Conrad has a series of rituals that he made for enduring intolerable conditions. So this one's called Saved. I've been saving rocks like you told me to. You said use them in an emergency. Employ these rights when destitute. Disregard the impending urgency. Ritual B was devised for C's untimely departure last year. Singing Blue Bayou in minor D brought you closest to feeling near. Summoning ancestors straight through the days, your absence transformed my becoming. Visibly disarmed on lone subways, singing, whispering, then softly humming. Walked blind through the shadow of a pigeon, consulted sparrows, but never gained vision. Thanks. Oh, now I'm introducing someone. All right, so this is Aaliyah. I'm the end of that set, right?
Yes, that's the end.
I'm going to take a moment to introduce Gabby Ferrara. She is one of the organizers of COVID Bailout New York City, and she's just going to tell us a little bit about the efforts that are being made. And she's not only one of the organizers of COVID Bailout New York City, but she's also a public defender for the Legal Aid Society in their Manhattan criminal defense practice. Gabby, thank you. It's an honor to introduce you.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Thank you all, first of all, for the beautiful readings tonight. It was so wonderful to hear Leon's voice, even though we were communicating through various layers of technology. But I feel so honored to be part of this. It's very special. And I think one of the best parts of being part of COVID Bailout NYC has been seeing all of the creative ideas for fundraisers that people have just put together for us out of the goodness of their hearts. Last night there was like a baking competition, and they ended up donating like $75 to us, and it was really cool, and it made me really want cake. So today's a special day because we were able to bail out our 100th person today. So we've now bailed out over 100 people. So yeah, that's really exciting for us. We try to keep the numbers updated in the profiles of our Twitter and our Instagram accounts. But yeah, I just wanted to start with some of the stats. The Legal Aid Society has been tracking infection stats coming out of Rikers Island and the other jails, the Boat and MDC downtown. And as of today, the stats are there are almost 97 infections per 1,000 people. I'm not very good with numbers, and that may not seem like a lot, but what that comes out to is that Rikers Island now has the highest infection rate in the entire world. That infection rate is almost 84 times higher than Wuhan, China, almost 14 times higher than Lombardy, Italy, and over 7 times higher than New York State. And the reason why it is spreading so rapidly without any end in sight is that people who are inside cannot practice all of the things that we can practice on the outside to stop the spread. There's no self-isolation, no social distancing, no hand sanitizer because DOC considers hand sanitizer contraband because it has alcohol in it. People are being told that they need to buy soap from the commissary, which is the store where incarcerated people can buy food, supplies, etc. They're being given watered down shampoo to disinfect surfaces. And they are using t-shirts and other bits of clothing as masks. To quote a graffiti that somebody reposted on Twitter today, I think it was a picture taken outside of a bus stop in Bed-Stuy. Rikers is a death camp. That is what is happening. That is the situation. That's what's happening on the inside right now. So it's imperative to us to get out as many people as possible, because I think what a lot of people don't realize, besides the fact that I firmly believe it is that prisons are inhumane, that prisons should not exist anymore. I think what people are failing to realize is that this is a public health crisis, because what is happening on the inside is going to affect everyone else on the outside, because you still have corrections officers going home to their families and bringing the disease home. So it's only when we can get more people out, get everyone out, that this will stop. But I just want to reiterate too that this is so much more than numbers, even though we are absolutely thrilled that we've been able to get 100 people out, and we're thrilled about the amount of money we raised. It's equally, if not more important, what happens to these people after they leave Rikers. To echo and paraphrase what Britt Williams said a couple of days ago at a meeting, she is one of the leaders in our post-release support team. To echo her, she said that if somebody gets arrested a couple hours after their release, what are we doing here? And if people don't have a place to go, a place to self-quarantine, their risk of rearrest is incredibly high. And we are really trying to make sure that our donations are used also as much as possible to support people who need support after. Currently, we are supporting 35 people with quarantine housing. And I have some quarantine housing and also daily wellness checks. In addition to supporting their immediate survival needs, we work with the people we bail out to reconnect them to basically everything being in jail disrupted, particularly ties to their own communities, to housing, to employment, to social services. Everybody on our post-release team has been in touch with them daily to ensure that they have food, are feeling well, and otherwise have what they need. And we also have been lucky enough to have a number of volunteer doctors, social workers, and healers available to work with them as needed and wanted. And another thing that our post-release support team does is make sure that they can maintain regular contact with their family members and lawyers while they're in this period of quarantine. So I think that's all I had to say. Besides, money, which we can always use to keep this work going. We're in great need of housing right now because of the amount of people who do need quarantine housing after they come out. When people are without shelter, without a family, without a support network, people who they can stay with, their first option is to go to a shelter, and no shelter will take them right now because they have been exposed. So we're in dire need of housing, and I'm going to drop some links in the chat so that I'll drop the housing referral link in there. If you know anybody with an Airbnb, an extra room where somebody could safely quarantine, that would really help our post-release side with that need. As in terms of money, I just want to say that we've been able to post almost $600,000, but over half of that has been from individual donations. This is truly a project powered by people power. And I just want to reiterate that. And thank you so much for having me, and thank you for doing this tonight.
Thank you, Gabby. Thank you for all the hard work that you're doing. We have a bunch of the links to make donations in the chat, and you can also find them across Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So I hope people see the urgency, and no donation is too small. So I'm going to introduce the next set of readers. I'm very happy to introduce No Land and Calvin Waltz, Joey DeJesus, and Eileen Miles. So our first reader, No Land, is a visual artist, poet, and photographer from New York. She's devoted to the tradition of New York City musicians, including Daniel Carter, Joanna Matre, and many others. Her book of photographs and poems, Authentic Artifice, was published by Newest York in 2018. And she's performed in a wide variety of venues all over New York City. And I'm very happy to call her my friend and inspiration. Our next poet after that is Calvin Waltz, who I'm very excited to hear read. He is a writer and educator from Detroit. And the following reader will be Joey DeJesus, who is not only a wonderful writer who is the author of The Thresholds of Madness from the Atlas Review and has a forthcoming book from the operating system called Hoax, but Joey DeJesus is also the candidate for New York State Assembly District 38 in South Queens. So very dogged, hard-working Joey DeJesus. And then our last reader also is a pleasure to introduce Eileen Miles, who came to New York from Boston in 1974 to be a poet. then a novelist, a public talker, and art journalist. A Sagittarius, their 20 books include Evolution, Poems, Afterglow, a dog memoir, a 2017 reissue of Cool for You, I Must Be Living Twice, new and selected poems, and Chelsea Girls. I suspect they may even have another book out already. They are also the recipient of a Guggenheim Fellowship, an Andy Warhol Creative Capital Arts Writers Grant. Oh, I can't say all these prizes in one breath. And they received a Creative Capital Grant and the Clark Prize for Excellence in Art Writing. So please help me welcome our first reader, Noland.
I would prefer to stay muted during my reading, but I unmuted myself. This one to say like deep hello. I don't know how to explain. You know, there's people here, we can't see them, but we're all together, and that's special. And also, I don't know if it was said, but there are several ways that people can get in touch with Fury to, you know, get in contact with Leon, to keep him in the community. Yeah, someone tell me when it's been 5 minutes. I don't know. My hideous skepticism. Puerta Niebla, dominate, shaman, breaks neck, Bible speed, flood Wall Street. Ambivalence is the lotus jewel. The greatest men have gone unknown. Translucent earth, spiritual, auto, bio, geography, anti-bio, anti-geography, virus, peace, flee the chemical field, toil. This is a poem. This is a tale about a prince who killed all of his followers. What destruction in the garden of beauty. Betrayed by a kiss in the sea that was land where land was sea. Ground kept shifting and you roaming, eternal roaming, walking past this sea and that sea, everyone running from you and you wondering why. Hot for God, turquoise woodchop, in search of no land, mush, 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 room of shooing the gods away for daily tasks, toil in the chemical field, irradiating non-identity documents, God's thumb, pink stone. Kicked out of nowhere again, the land simultaneously deserted and packed, as you go and seek to leave not a trace. Seeking to leave world liberated from painted cake. I am seeking to leave world liberated from painted cake. Contagious times fortify the neighbors' compassion. Floods and droughts, temperamental empathic fevers rise and fall. Only 26 minutes of silence produces any apparition resembling an eye is another tale of a wounded TV. Tale about a prince who kills all of his followers, destruction in the garden of beauty, and you not wanting them to die before seeing a holy land inside their own mind. Blood spells reclusively high of a mercurial deceit. They get their tales from a different well than you or me. All prophecy to be untied, a pelvic wound through a halo, a lie threaded through wounded TV. They get their tales from a different well than you or me. The war of reality, not so philosophic when it's the root cause of the blood sopping from the tree of knowledge. Blue water for the suffering, blessed rock in the palm of the poet, encircling all things with an invisible ring of crowns for the quiet, badges for the undercovers scattered throughout the century. Ladders left propped behind the curtain for those taking their sweet artist time slow. Spiderwebs go falling on the archivists, assigning all things to proper time, place, color, language. For the time vacuumed businessmen who say they can do no wrong before their births. Liberty pursued must flee, surrender all form. Surrender all form. When the angle of justice returns to the posture-striped warden on the chasing pennies festival throne, seeking to leave world liberated from painted cake, angel of justice parade, sleuthing down the road, dissipating all form, creature void of name, refusing to take shape, free of philosophical, political, mythical, lyrical, parallaxical, spiritual, psychological, mind and spirit break. Slide up iridescent and go crawl down on your knees down the shape-shifting avenue of Mercury's in-betweens. When the gods of communication descended onto this planet initially, they were thieves, naming, 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 like every word with its big letter and little letter, like the word no, capital K, N-O-W. Saints and starvers seeking mercy upon their souls, where one spirit starts and stops another is not told. That was like 5 minutes, right? I don't know. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for everyone being here together.
Thanks, Nolan. That was beautiful. Our next reader is Calvin Waltz.
Very cool. Thank you, Suzanne, for having me. And thank you. It's really cool to be a part of this with such great readers. I'm currently in Detroit and missing New York. So it's really nice to like kind of have a poetic solve for both cities kind of close to my heart. So I'll just read two poems that are that I've written kind of like in a space of self-isolation. The first is Obey to a Black Stranger. Pores and vacated, I want all parts of myself back. Fill me up or shake me, the sky was a wet pink tonight. I took the dog out and he ran to the yard's fence to the other dog and barked. Why not the same for you? I want to toss my arms, hold shoulder blades, let's press our ribs together, stranger. I'm selfish. I saw the thin scales of the fish in the pitiful blue and turned myself into its mass. It was perfectly fine without me. This being human estrangement, no matter the attempt at partness. To be totally and forever inside a wish. Stranger, tell me I'm good. That I'm better than a lily that I pulled that I knew would die if I did. Stranger, I hiked with only passion fruit and tofu for 2 days. Look at me and ask all the ways you could tell me yes. I hiked alone and thought often of ankles, the fragility of this lank, graceless brown ding of a body. I couldn't stand the sound of me, stood at the peak, asking what, more pottage, more cold, strained at the aerial view, the earth and me, stranger. And then the second is also a new poem. It's kind of inspired by a painting by Buford Delaney, Untitled Man in the African Dress. Bring It Back by Travis Porter is a call to push unto each other. I love that word, back. Can we dream with the things that we ask for? I have an altar with an MLK medallion, a photo of my grandmother in a dress all under a green and red and black flag nailed to the wall. Push yourself onto me. I want to flail myself and my body in a mosh pit. A dim background on the surface to have a glimpse of the world. I'll never fully know it, that's okay. Memories of pollen and being warm. I met a man once who didn't know what reggae was. I wanted to cry at David Zerner as I faced you in a frame. It was so crowded. They played spirituals at the Jacob Lawrence show. We deserve silence. Let us just look. Have you ever let things? I've let things. I want to leave someone satisfied. All right, cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. Thanks for joining us.
Am I next?
Wonderful to see Joey DeJesus. Yay. Thank you. Our next reader is Joey.
Can you hear me?
Can you speak?
Yes.
Bring it up a little?
I can. How can you hear me now?
A little.
Yeah. A little more.
For me, but you know, maybe I'm.
Let's see. I'm gonna try holding it for a second, and then I'll have to put it down. But I'm so honored to have been included. Thank you, Suzanne, for inviting me. All of the readings have been extraordinary. Calvin, that was beautiful. No Land, beautiful. Suzanne, thank you. So I'm just gonna read 2 poems. So this was a poem. This one's kind of a recent poem that I wrote for a star, in Aries. Botane. Sit cross-legged, surveying ruination. Abandonment girdles the Seba to cinder. Long-armed ape with child's voice tattered in work for later rises. If it speaks, it lies. Its name of sands where robbers gather. Unmake oneself untrue. Glint of failure in the glamoring amulet. Justice a clod locked in orbit. Its tools break the bonds of personal center. Botane shines brightly when singing's afoot. Bathe in gravel, devastate the powdered diamond, pomegranate, myrtle, meditate on closing chapters. The interval ends in retribution, colossal scale rigged. I sit cataclysm in the dragon shadow with a fly whisk of human hair. Idle town on the edge of warning, your name must not mark what you touch. Pit magic, 4 pitchers, we do not dictate any laws. Now remove the fine thread from your plexus. And yeah, so now I'm gonna do something else. I erased a poem. I erased a bill, HR 4900, into a sestina, and it took a long time. But HR 4900 is promesa. This is why I'm running for office, because we're gonna fuck this shit up. So if you'll bear with me, and it's a miracle that I've made it onto the ballot. HR 4900, promesa. To establish an oversight board, Puerto Rico. Section 1, short title, table of contents. This act may be cited. Section 1, short title, table of contents. Section 2, effective date. Section 3, severability. Section 4, supremacy. Section 5, definition. Section 6, placement. Title 1, establishment and organization of oversight. Section 101, territory financial oversight and management board. HR 4900, promesa. To establish an oversight board, Puerto Rico. Section 1, short title, table of contents. This act may be cited. Section 1, short title, table of contents. Section 2, effective date. Section 3, severability. Section 4, supremacy. Section 5, definition. Section 6, placement. Title 1, establishment and organization of oversight. Section 101, territory financial oversight and management. HR 4900, promesa. To establish an oversight board. So now I'm going to read a poem. Section romance that I will table of content. This act may be cited. Section 1, short title table. This is a curse on the architects of this bill that has resulted in the slaughter of my people. I say this as a candidate for public office who survived Corona. I have double pneumonia in my lungs. The state tried to kill me. It's trying to kill us all. It's a miracle that I'm breathing. And in each for such as fall to board, reduced to liquid dispute, oversight. The term means, and the term means territory. The term me island budget. Its sole discretion reports instrument pursuant to paragraph or subsection. Session the public powers by section. Data in the Sunshine Code. The board shall secure a metadata government, document electric metadata insights with respect to Puerto Rico, its budget, with respect to the budget, the meaning given to debtor. Trustee made means operative under this operative section, a wild refuge of solid waste to budget, no electricity, water, nothing to board, to pool the pool separate or cite in violation of violation. Instrumental in such non-compliance, the governor deadlines instrum dead freeze, mean bankruptcy of public faith in oversight. Privatization won't redeem this act. Section on behalf of debtor submits to board. No covenant to plebiscite SEP budget. Bond restructuring budget. Certain lands exclude land instrument in decline. Body of waste overboard. Nothing shall endanger species, meaning emergency of water body under section. Enforcement of property, all the sites and opportunity for privatization. Cite the insolvency. Counterparty budgets, reduce oil electric for island territory. Island electric power authority means transitioning to privatized government. A cause to challenge unlawful board. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. I hope that you're on the mend and wish you a speedy recovery. Our next reader, I'm excited to introduce, is Eileen Miles. Eileen Miles, hope you can hear me.
Yeah, hi.
Yay.
Cool. Okay, I'm just gonna hit it. I wrote this poem like a year ago, but it seems like about today in some ways, and so that's what's happening. It's called Eva After Getting Off the Boat. I'm something unreliable, and this is a day for poetry. My body one big explosion or revelation or crinkly thing. I go back. These threads of paper that happen to be my economy, repeatable and manifold, serial and sundry. What is Eileen talking about? I got myself here ready to fly with a thin layer of literally sleep. But what do we mean by consciousness, writing? This, but what? I go in on this carrying hordes awaiting an opportunity. I cut it in half, being careful to say thank you and wander on. I'll make something public eventually, filtering back to the real, keep in a promise or two, and really keeping some room for the lively impertinence of change. I get up. I'm captured in this thing called writing. It's my dog. I bump my head on something soft. A person. I'm sorry. It's okay. Is that writing? Honey. No. Bye. A person wants to talk to the dog. Okay. Is that writing? Is this 18 or 19? In the poem, I'm getting on a plane. Is this 18 or 19? 19. His fingers flex mid. Now he's explaining the equipment to his neighbor. Neighbor? Somebody in my recent reading, was described as a good neighbor. This floaty stuff, knowledge, the faces coming at me, hopeful, suspicious, surly, bland, and they just want, and now I am traveling. What if I really was everyone? Forget all that neighbor shit. Does this have neighbors? How do I hold what's writing? Writing by hand. I love this edge. It wasn't even a neighborhood, Bob, and I decided to spend my life there, which doesn't mean it's good. At least our row is complete. This plane has too many people, the world has. Series of cartoons in which the world has sad thoughts. I'm dead. But who may read my signs? I killed the dinosaurs and now I kill you. Is anybody out there? A planet hopelessly alone, calling to the present and the past? The old definition got us here. If I'm not a man, well, my blackness is a sword jabbing through space, lacking a target. You did get this too, yourself. The only bands are marching bands. I'm part of one night, a serial prayer. This is volume. Well, how do I count? I only have voice, sound, and a good pen. Our exchanges of warmth can't be traded in for a fortune. This is the future. My white friend said, I look good. You brought me here to advocate for him. The best thing I've ever seen, a mirror of way too late. Don't we need to see ourselves, a lonely earth burning up with a party hat and a drink in his hand as if making a lot of noise was a plan? If I play nothing and see what it has, if I don't wear gloves, see how my hands do, covered with spots and bulging nerves, and there's something impossibly true about the body, anyone's. In Greece and Laura's women, wrinkles or no are weaving, wanting to produce only that hum. The car went whoop, whoop. What if what I do now killed the dinosaurs? I betrayed you so long ago, and you hear that sound. What's that? Unpacked the marvelous, spent lying on the beach looking at its feet. If most of the people on the planet are lost, but you see this big blue orb so far, you can't even hear them crying. I need a nap. She's a recording. He's laughing at work on a plane. It's usually him married with kids, dick firing in the future. You don't picture your kids in those human forms. Let's play a game and tell me where you hide it on my planet. Just a little bit of change. I feel lost and more commingled with all those people crying in jail, dirty, lost, a hand lost, an arm. I was just going to a fucking wedding. How dare I plan for there to be a future? Strap into the plane. When we take off, it will change your thought. He made art out of very strong light, the corporate light of the present and the future. As a woman, she would obviously be more concerned with organizing loss, but it's a little bit later, just as dark out there where we spin. What if someone was reading this? Is a book a world in which they killed everyone but pretended it was not happening? It is, and she puts the broken parts, the lights fading in Greece in a gallery in Athens. This morning, she crosses her legs and reads the screen on her lap, which is glowing. I transport the apparatus for the celebratory cake. Don't bitch, I thought, and I'm driving her home and her daughter is smiling, holding her child from another part of the planet. James, they made a home for him, the home everywhere. This is what I think is good. Do care and offer band-aids and see the hurt and dig in their purse on the boat to help. I'm grateful that you have seen. Have I seen anyone in their pain? My mother scarcely breathing, we waiting her out. They don't care because I never could, but I care where. Standing way outside, seeing the blue, which is only in here, and I'm finishing because there's nothing else to do. I got the part where you don't say, you just do. All of her face is gleaming at me. The image is fixed. When she moves, be kind. We are all engaging in the mystery of what we have done with our kind. We are hurtling. Something's going on, and it's comforting to not entirely be the last, but being one of them. The painless world, because you're so far, get close. It's your only one, and you can really feel it and hear it. History is crying. The light, what is it made of, is dim. Breathe. Present change. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. And thank you to the other readers. That was a beautiful set. I'm really grateful to you all for being available.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Who's up next?
Yeah, that was incredible. Thank you, everybody that's gone before and everybody that's coming. Can you hear me? Leave it to the poets to have it all known, to know it all before it's all really coming down the pike. It's amazing how many people are just had their thoughts on the pulse for such a long time. I'm really grateful to everybody that's been here, and I'm really honored to introduce the next set of poets. They are mighty. I'm happy everybody's here. It's virtual bullet space, and I'm in actual bullet space. And I was going to take you all downstairs to the room, but my computer doesn't have any Wi-Fi down there. So next time we'll all be together. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce the next four poets. They are Tonga Eisenmartin, Rose Tang, Erika Hodges, and Martina Salisbury. All mighty and friends of us. Tonga, originally from San Francisco, is a poet, movement worker, and educator. His book, titled Somebody's Dead Already, was nominated for a California Book Award. His latest book, Heaven is All Goodbyes, was published by the City Lights Poet Series, was shortlisted for the Griffin Poetry Prize, won a California Book Award. Rose Tang is a multi-instrumentalist, vocalist, poet, visual artist, journalist, and activist. As a survivor of Tiananmen Massacre of 1989, she hates injustice anywhere. She lives in Brooklyn. Erika Hodges is a queer, gender-expansive poet and performance artist living and breathing deeply in Brooklyn, New York. Their work can be found at Flag and Void, Calyx, and the Adirondack Review, among others. Martina Salisbury is a poet, artist, archivist, designer, and creative director. She's currently living in Catskill, New York. Like I said, it's an honor to introduce them, and next is Tonga.
I go to the railroad tracks and follow them to the station of my enemies. A cobalt tooth man pitches pennies at my mugshot negative. All over the United States, there are toddlers in the rock. I see why everyone out here got in the big cosmic basket, and why blood agreements mean a lot, and why I get shot back at. I understand the psycho-spiritual refusal to write white history or take the glass freeway. White skin tattooed on my right forearm, ricochet sewage near where I collapsed into a rat-infested manhood. My new existence is living graffiti. In the kitchen with a lot of gun cylinders to hack up. House of God in part, no cops in part. My body brings down the Christmas. The new bullets pray over blankets made from the old bullets. Pray over the 28th hour's next beauty mark, extrajudicial Confederate statue restoration, the waistband before the next protest poster. Hey, by the way, time is not an illusion, Your Honor. I will save your desk for last. You are witty, Your Honor. You're moving money again, Your Honor. It's only raining one thing, non-white cops. And prison guard shadows reminded me of spoiled milk floating on an oil spill. A neighborhood making a lot of fuss over its demise, a new lake for a Black Panther party. Malcolm X's ballroom jacket slung over my son's shoulder. The figment of village, a new noose to a new white preacher, all in an abstract painting of a president. They bought slavery some time, didn't it? The tantric screeches of military boats and election Tuesday cars. A cold-blooded study in leg irons inside a tornado shelter, leg irons inside your body. Proof that some white people have actually fondled nooses. Sundown couples made their vows of love over opaque peach plastic and boat action audiences. The Medgar Evers II is definitely my favorite law of science. Fondled news clippings and primitive Methodists, my arm changes imperialisms. Simple policing versus structural frenzies. Elementary school script versus even wider white spectrums. Artless bleeding in the challenge of watching civilians think, terrible rituals they have around the corner. They let their elders beg for public mercy. I'm going to go ahead and sharpen these kids' heads in the arrows myself and see how much gravy spills out of family crest. Modern fans of war, with their t-shirt poems and t-shirt guilt, and me having on the cheapest pair of shoes on the bus, I have no choice but to read the city walls for signs of my life. I talk facing away from the dead. They replace me with the change in my pocket, a penny that's yet to be invented. They say you have to know how to cut a throat on the way to cutting a throat. After sleeping on a mattress made from 2 garbage bags of clothes, I became content with the small gestures of plantation fires. Playing with couch ashes, I realized how weird the universe was. It exists in so many places, so many random things. It interrupts me while I'm trying to dream, like your clay correspondence, Lord. To be transparent, I have 20 books next to a bullet like an old man giving advice at the beginning of a revolution. I've really done it, Lord. Explored the mumbles of my mind, explored what's naturally there, and I found no brainwashing. I found Africa, Lord. I have a future. It takes place in the diasporic South. I have morning possessions, modern militancy. Windows to the South, I'll walk on a missile for food. I guess you will not want flowers for a few years, Lord. Will I be tied face to face with the country our murder merged with us, Lord? Our old metal versus the new metal. Our old metal versus a pool of meandering imperialist faces, multiculturalism of sorts. The dead replaced me with a comedian's chest cavity instead of a chest cavity held tight. It takes a violent middleman for me to talk to myself. Stories that travel through other people's stories, a song about a song, a hemisphere about a hemisphere, stories that travel through a conquered polar. My mother remembers Africa, Lord. She killed on behalf of you, Lord. I wore a machete all winter and no one asked me what it meant. I read 1,000 books in front of the world. What I do is fight poems and sleep through decking in San Francisco prayer circles, watch people play for post-working class associative surfaces or recreations of a governor's desk, ruling class art of utility, playing find a sociopathic bureaucrat. A day some white people scare even easier. TV in a basket next to a ceramic baby wearing ceramic armor, musket progeny, fantasizing through the art of the poor. Their trendy latches locked before God. Black art hunted down like a dog. And hand over my friends, Lord. Lord, I think I'm gonna die in the war. Unelected white people in my small house like a blues song of no spiritual effect, or dollhouse H-bomb, a pony show near dead bodies, apartheid weddings that go right, apartheid white people who give birth to mathematicians, the spiritual continuity of barracks and police stations, a chemical interpretation of a Sunday trip to church smells in their pockets, a river mistaken for a talking river. No autobiography outside of small personal victories of violence and drug use. Made in the image of God's trinkers, why abolitionists confided in their children about, chemical assurances that they would switch from black artists to white artists, black guy to white guy, black worker to white worker. I think about you cautiously, Lord. In the same way I think about my childhood. Foxhole Friday nights, most of life is mute. A comedian points out a planet's field to a priest. King Sugarcane, King Cotton, King Revolutionary, the Bottless Central, containing all modes of shallow introduction, introducing an unlisted planet class, speaking about fevers and balance sheets and reassuring the masses that we can figure out our fathers later. A priest took my mother lightly, Lord. Stood in front of parishioners, re-raveling fantasies about black art. Priest reading confidently before I broke him and broke his parallel. After the day, I've never been a poet before. A little brother watches his big brother's friends. They lean rifles on shelter walls. They agree with me and call it literature. It's a simple matter, this revolution thing. To really lie to no one, to keep nothing godlike, to write a poem for God. Thank y'all.
Yay.
We got Rose Tang. Rose, good to see you.
See you, Maggie. Thank you. I have 5 minutes, right? I'll try to be fast. I wrote this a few days ago when I saw a very, very bright moon in Brooklyn. Dawn moon. I love silence. I hate death. I love to pause. I hate to not know when I will stop, pause. I hate to not know when I will stop, pause. I hate to see the beginning of the end. I hate to miss the beginning of beginning. When playgrounds, nursing homes, cordoned off like criminal scenes, disaster zones. Police patrol cars, ambulances, fire engines, trucks take over empty streets, roads, highways, freeways. No one has freedom. When grocery stores become war zones, everyone's scared, you know. Nothing's normal. A norm we think is new. Cause death in the air, death in the air. Cause everyone could kill you. Death in the air, fear in the air, subdued, still, losing it, lost in it, wanting to escape but nowhere to go. My home is my prison. My heart ain't free, stuck here. Everyone's going on live on social media. Everyone's worrying about basics of life. It's death in the air, death in the air. Billboards, neon lights keep flickering, touting things happened 2 months ago. Things made last year to no one in Times Square. Birds in my backyard are having an orgy. Geez, they're fucking loud. I like standing by the window in the light to fend off a relapse of darkness. Is this a surreal list of the surrealist? No surrealism can depict. Has shit hit the fan? Is shit about to hit the fan? Shit's real. She's raining down on me, a fucking sword waterfall. Coming down on me from above. Shit's fucking real. I'm shit scared. Mind fucking fool. Quick, go to the person you want to be with. Leave the person you don't want to be with. Be with the person you want to be with. Do something you always wanted to do but have not. Don't do something you always hated to do but hate to say no. You have no second chance. Let's face it, you gotta face it. You got no other chance. Death in the air. Death in the air. You don't have no second chance. Let's face it, you gotta face it. You got no other chance. Go ahead and love as much as you can because you have no second chance. Because death in the air, death around the corner, death in everything, everyone, every breath. Live before you die because you got no second chance. Love before you die because you got no other choice. Die so you understand life. Because death in the air. I love more. I want to love more. I need to love more because I'm so small. Because death in the air. Be safe, be sane, be good, be well, be kind. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you. Inspired by social media posts and my bandmates who talked about those things in Zoom meetings.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm going to read two poems. The first one I wrote in the before time, and the second one I wrote in the after time. Okay, here we go. So the Invisible Committee says, we would have liked to be brief, that a poem, a song would suffice. We wished it would be enough to write revolution on a wall for the street to catch fire. And so I wrote this, and it's called A Poem, a Song. To imagine a skyline is to consider cracking. To imagine a city is to remember disaster, the sight of red sun. To remember a landscape is to arrive at a stoplight and allow it to cycle through several times until you're ready to walk. To walk a city is to imagine what it might be if this line was just the sky, nothing else, just sky. Curves, no lines, a soft convex where the tent city is. To fight is to be in a city, to refuse to live in any more basements, to clean the drain trap daily because there are bugs, to look for help, but they are fighting too. They are in this city. She said, this is my city, and your city is not my city, but there you are. To breathe is to look up from the city and see the swarm that is the city, but not fall into the city, but still be of the city that is such a swarm. To look up is to text you and ask, how was your day? As a way to gauge what this city might be doing in other parts that are not my city, but your city. And as much as we can, it is our city, but that is a fight, not with each other, but with the architects. To leave the city, if we all did it, one day at once, is to disassemble a city and to make it a habitat for anything. A new city has always come after, but what if this time it did not? To disassemble is to keep walking until you know the city and your mother calls and she asks about the sugar factory that our house was flush up against, and I say, no, Ma. This is not the same city, but I know the factory, or I remember. To call is a beeline, a way around the rotting subway, to get to an inaccessible part of the city, of myself. And sometimes I answer and sometimes I cry, let me be lonely. To cry is to set fire, to wail, to burn, to weep, to blaze, to sob, to become ash and drift in the wind. Except those who have seen ash know that it does not drift. It takes flight quickly away from you before you can take it back. To become is to imagine a city, brand new, built up all at once, glistening, fallen from the sky out of a silicone faceted mold, and then to melt as a cake would, made and tiered for a special occasion, into something of a true form. And what came next was not recorded. The event had passed. To imagine a sky with no line. And this is called Panic Scroll. Each day feels like so many days. Hi, how are you treading water today, friend? A man is standing outside Key Foods, collecting signatures on an unrelated topic. He sees the dissonant colors, the calm beige of petition, the hot tangerine of a line, both to enter and exit a grocery store. Wrapped around, and yet, if it is hopeless, it is also fearless. Did you find a pharmacy that will refill your medication? And then, each night that I am more afraid, I say to myself, to God, to all of us still in this city, not fled for home, if I am afraid, I am still hopeful. This could make it different. We could live, we could really live together and for each other, alive after this is over, after the before has been undone. Please let me know when you've taken your temperature. The virus of the next gig, the virus of Nelnet, the virus of delivery fees, the virus of interest rates, the virus of the resume, the virus of networking, the virus of Aetna, the virus of broker fees, the virus of 1099 and W-2. May our streets stay empty. They are still ours while this virus decimates all those past life viruses. Our empty streets say, we want you here, more alive than before. We love you, we love you, we love you. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow, Erika, those are beautiful. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me? I think I have to take these off.
Yes.
My audio is not good.
Try it again. Can you hear me now? I can't hear
I
anything.
can hear you if you can be a little louder.
I'll try and be louder, sorry. I just wanted to say first, thank you to everyone who is part of this and for the organizers for inviting me and for doing this important work for COVID bailout in New York City. I'm honored to be in the company of such amazing poets and have really loved hearing all of your work. I'm in Catskill, New York right now, but usually live in Brooklyn. I'm upstate with my family and I've been here for about a month and a half and I'm really missing the city right now. It's weird to not be there and to be experiencing this long distance so far away. And everyone is in a different version of confinement. And when I was thinking of what I wanted to read today, I sort of chose a few poems that made sense to me. And then I realized they actually contain some forms of confinement in the stories inside the poems. So I'm going to read just two short poems first, and then a third one that is making me homesick for Brooklyn. It's written looking at the view out my window in Brooklyn. So the first is called Underworld. And I might mention also, I've been reading a lot of Greek mythology with my 11-year-old son. And this poem was sort of inspired by the myth of Persephone and being pulled down underground, and sort of how that exists for a lot of women in the world in general. Underworld. In that blur of shadow and light sticking to sweat-drenched limbs, writhe as blind tendrils, pull like flames, discarding fingerprints like petals and memories of dreams forgotten on the way down. Waiting for summer to return to a place where girls wear corsets of bark, their breathless shapes shimmering, ignoring catcalls, crossed lines, and questions that creep to blame. This is called Identity. Leaves of the crown I wished for on a distant first star, scattered across sidewalks like cat tongues, caressing footsteps of girls in identical dresses, lifted by the wind, drowned by sirens, lines of stockings and tresses shorn, an ocean of rays, each one golden, before fading into concrete oblivion. And this has no title. Solarized echo of test strip silhouettes, of faint feline shapes before the window, shades drawn across the overcast two-dimensional grid of rooftops, colors nameless as ever, a glimmer of madness, of pre-dawn hunt, lurking under soft fur, asleep on my chest in the same spot I held my son the day he was born, same bed, same gray light of upside-down oceans, memories overlapping, snapshots and shadows of this morning, still there like the view missing so many years I've forgotten. Thank you guys. Take care.
Yay.
Who's our closing speaker? Oh, Alma?
Yeah. What a amazing, informative, amazing poets and performers. You know, the work that the COVID bailout in New York City is doing, like Gabby said, is really so important. And to work with all the organizers and all the poets to help spotlight the work that's going on the ground. And Bullet Space, you know, Bullet Space now has a virtual home in these challenging times. You know, Bullet Space has been there for the community in so many different ways for so many years. And even with the adversity we are dealing with the coronavirus, Bullet Space is still providing culture for the community and helping to bring people together. And that's just really wonderful to see. If you haven't made a donation and you're one of the attendees, we had over 100 people sign up to attend this poetry gathering. And you haven't given a little bit to the COVID bailout in New York City, this would be an excellent time to dig into your pocket and give them, you know, $5, $10, $20. It'll make a huge difference in helping them continue this important grassroots work on the ground. You can find those links on the Poets Speak Out Facebook page. And you can also donate to the Poets and Writers organization and enter a raffle. So there's different ways for you to give. I just want to thank you all for attending. What I'm going to do is, I know there's a lot of people that are here and people want to see people, and that was one of the drawbacks. So I'm going to make people panelists so that people can, we can chat and turn on the videos and people can speak. So if you just give me a second, it's just I just have to go through everyone and promote you to a panelist if you're still here.
In the time, you guys could all hear this really crazy noise that my computer makes, and it sounds like kind of like a virus. It's like, bleh, bleh, bleh. Let me know if you hear it. It stopped doing it now, so you're not gonna hear it. So we can just invade people's homes and their cameras on for them, or no?
No, I mean, if people want to show themselves, if people want to chat or.
So crazy.
That was amazing, everybody. Everybody was just wonderful.
Yeah, great job. Amazing, everybody. I'm on a boat. Yeah.
Super reading, super cause. I especially like to hear from yeah, especially like hearing from Leon, that we actually got to hear stuff.
Please write him a letter. He's the greatest letter writer.
Yeah, if anyone who has my contact information wants to send me Leon how to write to him, I'd be happy to do that. It was a joy to hear you all. It was such a wonderful light in the day. I have to say goodbye, so thank you. And
We love you, Kate.
thank you all for doing this. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Kate.
Oh, I have to hop off too, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me. And this was beautiful, and I'm definitely coming to Bullets when it reopens. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Gabby.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, me too. I love you
too.
all. Walk my dog. I can't figure this out, but it's so great to be in New York in some way, and wherever you all are. Okay.
Thank you, Eileen.
Love you.
Thank you, Eileen.
Yeah, wonderful.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Okay. Ciao. Ciao.
Thanks, guys. I'm gonna go. But thank you for having me.
Thanks for your poems.
I see an Australian presence, so she's in the future and here tomorrow. It's already.
Hi from Australia. Hi from the future.
Yeah.
Hi.
That was great. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you so much for organizing this. It was a really beautiful thing for Saturday morning here in Australia.
Australia.
Yeah, Rose, there you are.
G'day.
California, Tonga.
I want to hear about Joey's campaign. I don't know if anyone wants to go there.
What do you want to hear? It's been very difficult.
Well, what should we know?
Talk about it.
If you want to talk about it, no pressure.
Well, it's been difficult. There's I've been sick the past 3 weeks. So everything's kind of slowed down, and relearn my body. And I find that there's a now it's like endorsement time, and I don't know about that. So a lot of progressive groups are siding with my opponent, like financed by war profiteers at Raytheon and nationalists. And so it's like I'm just trying to stay alive. All these forces conspire to break my heart. You know.
Sending love.
Bang, bang.
Hey, wait, what do I do? Am I there? Am I there now? Good job, everybody. Really good reading. Hello?
Yeah. Are you in the kitchen?
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm in the rehearsal space.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I
This
mean,
is my
a lot of solos.
really great stuff. I'm glad I saw the whole thing. So don't let me interrupt.
Keep cooking.
I made
Parsley there.
with ginger. Oh my god, yeah. I'll get the cat too. I don't know what happened to the cat, but she was into it too. She was watching a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah. What else have you been working on, Rose?
Huh?
What else have you been working on? You were on.
I've been busy with daily mundane shit. Cooking, around, lots of driving, food, boxes of CDs, whatever I can carry. Arguing with my daughter.
Yeah. Huh. It's nice you have the rehearsal. So you go